Welcome to my channel. It's called Lunasa. So for this video, I wanted to discuss two affirmations that Florence wrote in her book, Your Word is Your Wand. These are the weirdest but the coolest affirmations I have ever heard. So the first one says, I am as necessary to God as He is to me, for I am the channel to bring His plan to pass. And the second one says, I do not limit God by seeing limitations in myself. With God and myself, all things are possible. Wow. It's like, did you really hear this? Did you hear what I just said? First of all, I love the second one. I do not limit God by seeing limits in myself. Whenever I am tempted to limit myself, I really do think about that affirmation because it actually shows just how connected we are to God. I think I've had, maybe you've had too, the experience growing up where we're taught that God is all powerful and that He's just gonna go and do everything. You know, a Jesus take the wheel kind of situation. God's gonna do it all. And we just, get out of His way and He takes it over. But Florence is adamant, totally insistent on how much we need to step up. So when we limit ourselves, we are limiting God because we are the channel through which He can do so much on earth. And when we see limitations in ourselves, when we function with limitations, when we're not bold enough, strong enough, poised enough, that we're actually limiting what God can do. And when we rise into our greatness, when we rise into a level of self-confidence, then there's no stopping what God can do through us. And the first affirmation, I am as necessary to God as He is to me. Wow, I have never heard anyone say that except Florence. I've never heard anyone bring up this idea that we are as necessary to God as He is to us. In her book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, Florence talks about the superconscious mind, and one thing she's adamant about what she says about it, is when we get into the world of the God mind, it's about what we can do. It's about the extraordinary things that we can do, the extraordinary lives that we can live, because we are a channel for which God to work through. God has all of these plans for us, all of these amazing, extraordinary plans that seem almost too good to be true, and that is the huge characteristic of the God mind. So for God to do things on earth, He needs us, and we are as necessary to Him as He is to us. I find that fascinating, and these are two really good affirmations to keep in mind. When you want to limit yourself, when you want to speak poorly of yourself, when you just want to give up and curl up, then just realize that it's when you're bold and courageous that God is able to work through you at His best. I'm often reminded of Carrie Underwood's really great song, Jesus Take the Wheel, and how it's the opposite message we need to now have. Because what that song said is, Jesus, take the wheel, take it from my hand. I can't do this on my own. I'm letting go. But Jesus, just take it over. And what we need to realize is we need the opposite message, where our hands on the wheel, our hands are on the playing deck of the playing cards. We have the soccer ball at our feet because we're playing the game, and the game of life. And we need to step up to drive the car, even if we're looking at black ice. We need to step up, and in doing so, God can work. But we're not trying to say, my hands are off, you take it over. Our hands are still on the wheel, and we're still in charge of driving it. And when we do it, there is so much that God can do through us. I also like to think of the game of life as like a game of soccer, where we have the soccer ball at our feet, and we're wearing our uniforms, and we're on the pitch, and we're getting ready for like the second half. We're down a point, but it doesn't matter. We rise into our greatness as players, and we get out on the field, and we play the best game of our lives, and we leave it all out there. When we do that, then it allows God to work through us. And Florence even describes the game like a game of solitaire, and the ability to have the deck of cards and to play it well, to take responsibility for playing it well and making all the right decisions. When we get ourselves in order, then that allows God to have the right conditions to work with us. And so these are two really great affirmations that I just love. And if you've never heard of them, I'm so glad to have introduced you to them. I'll say them again. The first one is, I'm as necessary to God as He is to me, for I am the channel to bring His plans to pass. And the second one is, I do not limit God by seeing limitations in myself. With God and myself, all things are possible. So, I always say thank you so much for listening. I'm going to leave 2 videos on my screen that I think you'll enjoy. One video of mine and one of my favorite songs. And as always, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.